essentially just the main overall things that we're talking about over our nutrition guide, our nutrition seminar today. So it'll be different points, especially our calories, our macros, all of our macros, very basic knowledge for the most part, but then we'll be touching base on other things as well, including your in-body scan results here. But we'll go back towards this a little bit, because I know some of us don't have our in-body scans with us. But either way, we want to make sure that at the end of the day, after today, we can get your results on your in-body, either take a picture or you can send it towards us, so we can get your calories and your macros sent to you over this weekend before Monday. Okay, everyone? Yeah, so as for our nutrition guide, what we're going to start talking about first is our calories and our macros. So again, focusing on the most basic of education when it comes towards our calories. Now, especially what our calories are, calorie or kilocalorie is a measurement of energy, right? So every time you eat something, that is something of energy for you to move or your body to move as well.
You've ever been over across the pond, right? If you see nutrition labels over there, they actually don't even write calories. It says energy on it or energy,
yes.
For that reason. So think about that as your mindset. A calorie is not a bad thing, it's a good thing because it provides you with energy.
Yeah, 100%. And then as for your macronutrients, typically always three, right? Our protein, our carbs, and our fats, right? Now, typically those three are definitely the most important. Our carbohydrates are going to be your energy source. Your protein is going to be the source that rebuilds your skeletal muscle mass. And then your fat's also another energy source, just like your carbs, but a little bit more denser in calories, in those calories.
We call them macronutrients because we need them in large quantities. You might hear micronutrients, which are more vitamins and minerals, which we need in smaller quantities, but still equally as important. And these are like the main three that will make up your calorie content.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, you'll always see other, I know there's going to be a lot of other questions later on when it comes towards other diets out there, but typically when you always want to look at a different diet, let's say for a carnivore diet, paleo diet, X, Y, and Z, there's always particular rule sets on there, but typically, what I always want to see is all your three macronutrients are in there. Typically when you see like a red flag somewhere, they're taking out a whole macronutrient, like, oh, no carbs. Then that's how you know, all right, there's a red flag right there. It's definitely going to be, it's not sustainable. If anything, maybe it's doable for 3 to 4 weeks, but definitely not long term, which is exactly what we want to make sure for today, okay? Especially for this protocol here, we want to make sure it's long term, so even after you're finished with us, you know what you have to do afterwards. Now, as for your first macronutrient, your protein. Now, especially with this one, typically it's roughly around 10 to 35% of your overall caloric intake. So you'll see, again, 10, 35%, not majority of your calories. Majority of your calories will be, of course, your other macronutrients, your carbs and your fats. But this one is definitely the most important to rebuilding that muscle mass and also your skeletal muscle mass as well. You're repairing your ligaments, joints, X, Y, and Z.
Protein's going to be the most important macronutrient for you, especially as athletes, to really make sure that you're achieving on a daily basis. It's what helps promote, lean muscle mass growth, repair, maintenance, like Alex had said. It's also responsible for many other functions in the body. We talk about immunity during the winter months. It's going to be really important for you to stay healthy. So it has lots and lots of benefits.
Now, especially with this one here, this particular slide, where it says your body can use 30 grams of protein for every 2 hours. Now, that is an old research when it comes towards, especially when it comes towards availability in the body as for absorption. I know we were talking about this a little bit earlier today, yesterday. But, I would say rule of thumb between 20 to 30, right? I think even 30 is a little bit too high, but there's always going to be I know there was new research just recently, I think it was last week. They just said that you can probably eat a little bit more, but who knows when it comes towards absorption, right? And especially depending on the clients as well, and especially with their needs with those protein sources. Now, as for your protein sources, you can be animal, right? Or you can also be vegan. But any type of variation where we can have our protein from those sources, of course, animal will definitely be the highest variation or absorption rate compared to a vegetarian, but if you want to go towards vegetarian or vegan, that can definitely help as well. It's just trying to find different particular foods to introduce into your diet.
Yeah, so I think that's important to note, as Alex mentioned 20 to 30 grams per meal and snack, right? So in our intake form, it was how many times a day do you eat? And if you're only eating twice a day and you have a protein goal of 200 grams, well, that's going to mean that you're going to have to eat 100 grams each sitting. So think about that, like how we would probably want to add maybe 1 or 2 more meals or some snacks in there, because you could eat 100 grams of protein, but you're gonna feel real full. You're gonna be like, wow. It is the most satiating macronutrient, so it promotes satiety, which is excellent, especially when we're trying to cut some fat. Again, why it's gonna be so important, but meals throughout the day, meals and snacks should be around there. So the less you eat, the more you're going to have to consume during those meal time periods.
We'll also talk about like proportion in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to those portion sizes. And now for our carbohydrates. So this is definitely going to be the bulk of your calories, roughly around 45 to 65% of your.
Got that? 45 to 65% of calories come from carbs. So a lot of people demonize carbohydrates as it's bad, it's bad. I lost weight because I cut out carbs. And I'd encourage you to think about adding the backing. A lot of the weight loss that we receive from carbohydrates is actually water weight, right? For every 1 gram of carb, we store like 3 to 4 ounces of water because we need water to help process through them. So you might feel bigger and full. I was just talking about this with somebody this morning. Like, I think it was you, Heather. And that's true. But this is where your energy is going to come from. And then Alex will go through like breaking down simple carbs versus complex carbs. So there are differences.
Of course, the complex carbs, the salt active one, that's your more nutritious, and it helps you stay satiated for a lot longer. So that'll be more like your whole grains, your cereals, your fresh fruits, green vegetables, stuff like that. But as for your simple carbs, it's more like your refined bread, sodas, sugary cereals. Like it's all different variations of your carbs and how it breaks them down into your blood. Now, as for simple carbs, there is a time and place, especially when it comes to athleticism. But we'll talk about that later on. But for the most part, complex carbs is definitely the place to be at. Okay, everyone. And then as for our protein.
Fats.
Fats. Yeah. It was protein. So fats, 20 to 30% of your calories. So these are definitely a lot denser calories. So with these, the molecules are definitely a lot bigger. So that's why it's a lot denser. So let's say, for example, I love eating almonds as my pre-workout meal because it gives you a lot of dense calories in there. It's a very small amount. But again, since it's very dense, you have to count them out. So especially when it comes to almonds, for example, I like to eat roughly around 9 or 18 almonds.
So this is what
and I had to count it out.
If you follow me on my other Instagram, I just made a post about nuts because it's one of those foods where you have a scale and you start to think of, I'm just gonna grab a handful of nuts. Like I can fit in my little hand an ounce of nuts, that's a serving. And if you think of Alex's handful of nuts is gonna be probably about 2 to 3 servings. There's 9 calories in every gram of fat versus 4 calories in a gram of carbs and a gram of protein. So you're almost doubling the amount of calories with fat. So that's where we talk about like the density of them. So you get more bang for your buck with carbs versus fats, and that's where a lot of people struggle with. If you've ever seen 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, it like doesn't even cover 2 pieces of toast. And like a handful of nuts is like he said, it's like 9. You look and you're like, that's how many I get?
Yes, and just like those 9 to 18 is already like 200 to 300 calories. Like just that amount.
And like 15 grams of fat. Like,
yeah.
Are they even worth eating?
That's, again, that's going to be up to you.
Right, because they're so fatty. I've cut them out.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they
I
don't,
love them,
I
but-
feel, and it might be a satiety thing, where it's like, I eat 9 nuts and I'm still starving.
Right, like it's not even worth it.
you know.
Well,
but
it depends.
not-
It depends. Like again, like I like to use this as a pre-workout snack because it has all those carbs in there, and it
And he just needs a few.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just by the only thing is you have to count it out, right?
Right.
It's better than eating like a whole like 2 scoops of white rice before working out. You don't want to digest that when you're working out. I'd rather have like just almonds or something.
Yeah.
But especially when it comes to these fats, other fats that usually a lot of people don't think about is your cooking oil.
We'll look at
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
on
exactly.
too.
We'll talk about that.
Cooking oil or even cooking spray. things like
Yes.
that.
And now for nutrition timing. Now this is essentially timing throughout your day, right? Now when you're eating a particular meal, say you have your protein, your fats, and your carbs, you want to make sure it's always, again, calorie dense, and each meal roughly will take you or keep you full for at least 3 to 4 hours. Okay, everyone? So 3 to 4 hours is typically how long it's going to keep you satiated, especially if you follow those your macronutrients as your protein, carbs, and your fats.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of us work all day, right? We're busy, we don't have time to sit down and eat, but it is really important that when you do have that time, that's where breakfast can come in, a nice big breakfast to keep you full through lunch. A bigger lunch if you can get the time to sit down, and or even some snacks throughout the day, because you want balanced energy. You don't want to come home and start raiding the cabinet. I do it when I'm guilty. If I don't eat all day, I know exactly what's going to happen. Blood sugar crashes too. You make different, more poor nutritious choices because your body's craving that quick energy, and it knows exactly where it's going to get it from. It's going to get it from chips, pretzels, kids' snacks, food,
Those simple
right?
carbs. Those
simple carbs.
Yeah.
Listen, there's a dopamine response that happens in the brain. It's like being on drugs, where it's like, oh, it knows. It knows that
It does.
little candy bar. Yeah, I know how that makes me feel. And so it's that vicious cycle. So super important to keep yourself,
Balance, yes.
Yeah, it's balanced throughout the day. Exactly. Food throughout the day.
And also a very important thing as well, like especially when it comes towards work and our life in general. It's 3 to 4 hours. Like, I don't know if I can squeeze that 3 to 4 hours. What can I do to lead up to another meal? So that's other things you also want to think about, like snacking, right? But healthy snacks that you have in mind. But I would only recommend snacks for emergency purposes, especially if you don't have a meal at hand, right?
Totally.
So if I'm at work, I'm running for the train, I gotta eat something. All right, well, now I'm gonna have this particular protein bar, and think about that lasting you for maybe 1 to 2 hours, where compared to a meal, 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
So all right, 1 to 2 hours. All right, cool. I bought myself some time. Now I can start leading that into a meal. So those are definitely things to think about, especially when you're controlling your blood sugar, because that's what's going to spike up, and then you want to start get what you were saying, become ravenous and start eating everything. Okay? And this is our pre and post workout. Now when it comes towards pre, it's particular foods, right? Things that are for example, for myself, things that would dissolve a lot quicker, because you don't want you want to eat something that's sloshing around, and then all of a sudden your performance is not that great, or
We've all done that, right?
Yes.
We've eaten or drinking, you're a little too close to workout.
and especially if you come at 5:30 in
Yeah.
the morning, it's pretty hard, right? I don't want to eat anything. And I'm huge on that too. Typically I don't eat anything, and then it's for a long time. But then you'll notice when you start eating something, well, my workout's that much better, and I feel so much better, stronger, faster, X, Y, and Z. And you're just keeping yourself prepared the night before. It's a lot easier than just waking up preparing something to just sucks. So typically,
especially at 5:30 in the morning.
Yes.
You want to get out the door. I want as much sleep as possible. Out the door. I add a scoop of protein powder to my coffee before I come here in the morning.
there you go. Oh, I never tried coffee.
Oh my gosh. Yes, you just gotta make sure you cool down the coffee a little bit, but I add a scoop in. So now I'm already at 25 grams of protein. I got a little caffeine boost, and I have something in my stomach to help fuel me. A half a banana would be a good choice too. In addition to that, just a little something. But to Alex's point, you have to start somewhere and then start to feel the difference. How just a handful of almonds with a coffee or something to give you a little bit of energy will make such a difference in your workouts. Okay, cool. I like this.
Like other ideas, especially when it comes towards right here, like your rice cakes, super underutilized. Like has a lot of carbs in there.
I know they taste like cardboard, but like
like Rice Krispie treats, sort of, but less tasty. But like you can put cottage cheese on there, cottage cheese, peanut butter, something that can dissolve a lot quicker and again go into your system a lot faster. If you like eggs, I would not do regular eggs, maybe egg whites. It dissolves quicker into the body as opposed to regular eggs. But after you work out, then you can have your regular eggs. Okay. But,
So is that, I mean, what, so I come to 5:30, I never eat anything before, it's just not part of my habit. So is the purpose of eating before the workout to improve how you do in the workout?
that's correct. Your overall performance.
Okay,
when do you eat dinner at night?
like 7:30, 8.
So you're completely fasted by the time you get there. Right? You're at a 10-hour fast by that point.
Yeah.
In time. So think
But
about
like, what if
that.
I don't? What's the downside?
There's nothing.
I just feel like realistic to me, I think it would be incredibly hard for me to change that habit. I would have to get up half an hour earlier.
Well, again,
and
that's
I just feel
what.
like it'd be hard to
So the
do.
difficulty on that again is prepping that in the morning. It's better to prep it at night before you go to sleep. So as soon as you wake up, you open the fridge, you have it, and you're done. You're at the door. Or like say for example a smoothie. A smoothie is also a good variation. I like doing smoothies as well. Right before I go to sleep, I just make it. So when I wake up, I just drink it. I'm on the way to the gym. Don't have to worry about anything. Got my carbs, fats, wines.
Well, like, what's the downside if I can't change?
Well, think about it this way. If you're better fueled, your performance becomes that much better here, which also translates to maybe more muscle mass, or your intensity that much higher, so you'll also bring down your body fat percentage over time. So those are things to think about as well, because for the longest time, I went fasted for like, I don't know, 3-5 years. And I was like, oh, well, this works for me.
Yeah.
Then recently, past 2-3 years, I've been making sure I've been eating before working out all the time. And again, performance, muscle mass, everything went up, and body fat went down. What's that?
Is there like a time frame of like when's best to eat? Like, you know, you say like eat like on the way to the gym, or is it better to eat like an hour before?
So I think that's going to be dependent on what you're eating. Meals should be like honestly a few hours, probably like 3 to 4 hours if you're having a big meal. But if it's just like a quick shake with some water or a piece of fruit, like, and you feel okay, have it and come in and see how you feel.
Yeah, like 15, 30.
Yeah, it'll be up to you to play around with it. And so, yeah, it's not a whole meal.
Yeah, no,
but-
that'd be ridiculous.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit like this is going to be daunting to like change my habit.
I mean, but if it's just like a spoon of peanut butter and a banana.
Yeah,
half
that's
a
it.
Banana.
Yeah, just something small. Like we don't want anything crazy.
I think it's more doable just like a scoop of protein powder and some water.
Yeah.
And I can drink it in the car.
That's
on the way.
perfect.
Yeah, so that's why they all prepare the night before. Yeah.
What did you say, coconut water?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Is that it dissolves? Does it dissolve?
It's not going to be delicious.
It is.
So think about it this way: the more delicious it is,
The worse it's
the
for
worse
you.
it is. Yeah, that means it's probably jacked up in sugar.
Yeah. Will we talk about protein powder?
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
So, Susan, for you,
Yeah.
I do half a banana and soaked almond, if I remember to.
See?
Yeah.
What do you do? Just a half a banana, just a little something.
And
It's
almond,
like
almond
crazy
sugar
sugar.
to water my cooking.
Oh.
It's mostly experimenting on what works for you, right? It's like it took me a while as well. Like I usually like using rice cakes, peanut butter, and also almonds. Those are usually my go-to. But usually carbs, fats. Carbs and protein. The way
Carbs
to
and
go.
protein, keep fats lower. Just because they take a longer time to digest, so you don't want to have like that's why no big eggs, don't have a whole egg, 6 eggs or something.
That's afterwards.
Yeah.
What's up?
Are rice cakes complex carbs?
That's correct.
They are.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, no, not yet. They're simple.
They're
Yeah,
simple.
Yeah,
That's why
they're
they're a good
Yeah,
pre-workout
that's why it
for
brings
your
down quicker,
post
yeah.
because they'll help spike your blood sugar. Like they'll improve your blood sugar a little quicker than if you were taking a bowl of rice. That will take longer.
Yes. That's why it's or refined bread, like white bread. white rice, some things like that. But I wouldn't do white rice, especially if you're waking up at 5:30 in the morning. But if you're doing it later in the evening, if you have 1 to 2 hours before you can work out, you can eat a meal, awesome, for the most part. And then even post-workout, you always want to make sure also protein and carbs. Those are always the two most important when it comes to before and after your workout, because you just expended a lot of glycogen or your carbs, your whole intake, and you want to replenish that for the next day so your performance stays balanced as well.
So can that be the meal? That can then be the meal.
That's correct. That can be the meal
Yeah, yeah.
post-workout. That's correct. Yeah, definitely have a meal, especially when you're working out in the morning and you're going to a commute. If you don't have any carbs or protein, you don't have that brain haze. It's not going to be
10 o'clock's gonna roll around. And you're
Yeah.
like, ooh.
That's what I do.
Yeah. You're like, what?
I train at 7 a.m. with my
Really?
coffee. Yeah. And then I practice at 8 when I get to the office.
Perfect. Great. That's fine.
Yeah.
But now I have to drink a scoop of protein.
Now you'll want to, once you see like the protein goal that you'll have to hit, say, well, how am I gonna get there?
Yeah. 100%.
So, quickly, what about water? Pre-workout water. I see, I drink my water, but I don't see other people drinking. I'm always coffee in the workout, so.
Huh, so good.
Holding you back?
So I will definitely, so one of the main things that there's a lot of studies out there, especially when it comes to hydration as soon as you wake up. Definitely, as soon as you wake up, drink a bottle of water.
I drink
Bottle of
that.
water or a glass of water, just something.
Because
Just
think
for the
about
first-
it, you've been sleeping for 7 to 8 hours, you're completely dehydrated. Completely. And then you go and have a coffee, and then you're further dehydrated
Yep.
yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
So like,
Yeah, so
yes,
you make it
you'll have
worse.
to go to the bathroom and listen, I take the fact that I'm in the bathroom 4 times at home, and then I get here and I gotta go another time because I've had a huge shake of water and my coffee. But
Yes.
it helps get you to your water goal, too.
That and also putting salt in your water, also very good. I know. But there's a lot of there's a few different companies out there recently that you can put like a little bit of salt into your water and it tastes all right. Yeah, it tastes pretty good.
I have it in mine right now.
Oh yeah, there you go. Exactly.
Yeah, LNC. The citrus salt is really good.
Yes, those are definitely very useful.
I like the lemon habanero.
Definitely very useful, especially for what you do as well. It helps with your electrolytes and also helps you keep
How much
the
salt
water.
do you put in?
Oh, very small. I'm not sure.
You don't know.
As for the company, I think it's called Limit.
Element.
Element.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Not like
haven't.
not table salt. No.
Yeah, no. Yeah, not table salt. Yes, yes.
Thank you for asking. 'Cause I thought it was different.
Yes, no. But there is a particular company called Element. It's been very popular recently, especially in the CrossFit realm. And there you go. And you just throw it into your water. I know a lot of people are like, salt, but I get tiny
It is
place,
salt, it's an
tiny place.
electrolyte, really, but it's based.
So it's got a combination.
Yes.
And I feel like you have
Yeah.
to be extremely specific.
Yes.
This would be really good, like just during your workout.
No,
That's
it's
correct,
not
yes.
an immediate salt that you take.
Yeah.
Right. And it tastes really good. They have all different flavors. They send you packets of like
They don't just have the chocolate ones in the middle.
Yeah, I'm gonna try the chocolate one. They have watermelon. You can make like mixed watermelon and raspberry. You can make like a punch.
And you just have that in your water all day?
You can have, just have it like once a day, either I would say like pre-workout. Like,
Pre-workout,
Yeah.
okay, so not all day, it's not.
That's correct, yeah.
Oh, this isn't the water you drink all day, got it.
That's correct. That's correct.
I'm asking all your questions.
Thank you.
But yeah, so remind me about the protein powder. Yeah.
I've tried a whole bunch of different ones. I think liquid IV is actually too salty for me.
Yeah.
This one's salty, but not like, it's not too bad.
The flavor. I feel like.
Depends on the flavor.
If you sign up too, it gives you like if you get like 3 boxes, it gives you, or 2 boxes, you get an extra box for free when you sign up.
What flavors?
Oh, that's cool.
I like the citrus salt and the watermelon.
We should have that more players.
Yeah, none.
Yeah, and yeah. I think that's the same.
Is it? Okay.
It's similar. We usually have that when we go to higher elevations.
Oh. Yeah.
I don't recommend the water.
Interesting.
It's okay. This is why it's been in my bag since like the summertime.
right, so as we're moving on, how to build your plate. Do you want to be boxed over? The whole time. So how to build a plate, how to build your plate, and how to, more for visually, because I'm myself more of a visual learner. But typically, you're going to start off with your veggies. That's half your plate. Half your plate to remember to eat the rainbow.
Eat the rainbow. I always forget. And try different things that you didn't think you liked. And don't worry. Oh, carrots, they're high in sugar. No, they're still good for you, right? They have other vitamins and minerals that you need. And tomatoes, again, like another. Oh, they're high in sugar. Like get that out of your brain. Vegetables are excellent for you. You guys need to be hitting at least like 25 grams of fiber a day. That's how you're gonna get there. Without big leafy green and starchy vegetables, it's gonna be really hard to hit that goal.
Now, after that, we have 1/4 of the plate is carbohydrates. The other 1/4 is your protein. Now, when you're looking at this should be a typical plate almost every other day, right? Now, as for, let's say, for example, I just finished the workout, maybe the plate will look a little bit different. So the only main difference is this stays the same, this one just a little bit more. So just a little bit more on your complex carbs, but everything else stays the same. Again, you're replenishing those carbs that we just utilized in that workout you just completed, so we can make sure we're balanced again for the next day.
If you're scared of carbs, the best time to have them, and the majority of them, is a post-workout.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you are nervous, I worked really
Most
well on low
important.
carb, but that is the best time to have them.
Yes.
So that's when I can have my bread.
Yeah.
You can have your bread at any time of day, okay?
The green vegetables, they're considered carbs, right?
That's correct.
What?
Your complex carbs is correct.
Yeah, okay.
It's
Like-
so low. Vegetables are so low in
But
carbohydrates.
the calories are minimal.
That's
Correct.
correct,
That's why I
yes.
So
said
even
don't.
though it's half of your plate, it's the pasta that's kind of the calories. Right. If, we go back to what you said before, the carbs should be 45 to 65%.
That's correct. Yeah, especially when it comes to that pasta, that'll be your 1/4 if you want to put it in there. But when it comes to your vegetables, when it comes to vegetables, I would always go for dark leafy green stuff, like spinach, broccoli. They will definitely give you the most vitamins and minerals, and it'll be the most useful or more bang for your buck as well.
When it comes to your macros though, and you're looking at your carbs, is that gonna potentially throw you over?
Don't cut vegetables.
Okay.
I know, right?
Don't sacrifice vegetables for an extra 10 grams of rice. Like, it's minimal.
Okay.
And you're also getting the fiber component in vegetables that you don't get from,
Other carbs.
some other
That's correct,
carbohydrates. Exactly.
And that's huge, especially now. There's a crisis with low fiber. That's why there's colon cancer has been coming up because of that. So that's why it's definitely very useful, very important to have your vegetables, especially those dark leafy greens. Again, it's always neglected.
Yeah.
All right, and that's all. We've got to talk about your fats. Your fats, 1 thumb size for each plate.
What?
Yes. So finishing with that, thumb size or a tablespoon.
Yeah. And we'll
Yes.
talk about that a little bit when
Yes.
we get like dressings and sex sauce.
Exactly. 'Cause that's where they get you. It's
So
like,
that's dairy. Dairy is like fat. So any kind of cheese or milk.
Seeds, nuts, oils, cheese, avocado.
Avocado is like
It's very high in fat.
Yes.
Very high. So
the thumb size of avocado.
No, here's the thing. Avocado does have a lot of fiber in it too. I believe, right? Avocado
Yes,
pretty high
it
fiber,
does.
like it was literally-
Yeah.
So you just have to be mindful. If you're having an avocado with salad dressing, like your fats are shooting up hot, like fast. So it's being cognizant of that and knowing like, do I like an avocado on my plate or do I want carbohydrates? Yeah.
So probably avocado toast.
Again, yes,
yes.
avocado. I just
Very
said
good.
Oh, okay. But
Because
it's
you
not
can eat
high.
like
But-
an avocado.
Well, it still
That's
has,
what
so
I heard.
yes,
I
it's
love
very high, but it
avocado
depends on what you're trying to do.
I know,
right?
but
If you're getting ready
You're
for like a
like,
long run,
You're
or you're going for a very heavy lift,
all my
that'd be
fats for
something
the
good.
day.
yeah.
Like just have, what I like is avocado toast with like a poached egg, just one egg on there.
Yeah, that's
Got you.
exactly.
The Trader Joe's has like the little guacamole cups too.
Oh yes, so those are the
I
best.
like those because they're portioned out.
Yeah. The
And
holy guacamole.
the whole, I don't know, it's like a little,
So it's
it's
called,
easy
yeah.
to throw it. I like those because it's like you open an avocado, you can never eat it.
Yeah.
Right.
Then it goes bad, and
Yes.
you wasted $3 on it.
Yeah.
So I found that those were nice to
Those
add.
pods are awesome, and they're only like 100 to 150.
Yeah, they're portioned
Yeah.
out pretty nicely.
Yeah.
They add a lot of flavor to like, egg whites or.
Does it have a lot of other stuff in it though, or is it just like?
No,
Yeah,
just-
I would say if you just get bored.
So so some of them they do have different variations, but they do have just avocado. If you want like other things in avocado, they have that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not guacamole, so it doesn't have onions and tomatoes and stuff like that in it.
Some of them might do. But again,
Like
they have different variations.
I'm like,
yeah.
now I'm gonna go there and look at it.
I know.
They
have different versions of them.
There is like a
Bathroom is there?
Okay.
There is, yeah. And now for your meal prep and grocery, there's fun stuff. So especially when you're planning your meals, right? So it depends on that work schedule. I typically like to do things on Sunday and Thursday, because those are typically my days off. And it's like, all right, well, I know if I make a whole batch of chicken breast, a whole batch of rice, a whole batch of, one type of vegetable like spinach, all right, it's gonna hold me over maybe 3-4 days. And know by Thursday it's gonna be pretty low, and then that's when I start rebuilding once again for those batches of different foods.
And my meal prep days are Saturdays and Wednesdays because that's what fits into my schedule. I get to the store Friday mornings, I'm ready, and then Saturday afternoon, it's like second nature now. It will come.
Yeah.
But don't get out of this thing of like something has to be done on a Sunday afternoon. Then if you get to work from home on Monday, think about 4:30 on Monday night. Like you take 30 minutes, just log off and start a little meal prep. It doesn't have to be on a Sunday, but there should be, consistency throughout the week so that you're always prepared.
And also just keeping it as simple as possible, right? Like, oh, let me just make some crazy recipe all the time, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Keep it as simple as possible and make it a lot easier for you, and also to count your calories and your macros. Like for me, I like to have probably maybe 2 sources of protein. I have chicken, then I have some steak, and then as for my carbohydrates, I might have some brown rice, some pasta, and then as for my vegetables, I might just have spinach or broccoli. And then I just pick and choose X, Y, and Z, make my meals that way. That'll be like, I'll always prioritize, all right, those are my dinner meals. Those are always gonna be my dinner meals. My lunch meals might look a little bit different. Sometimes I like to make sandwiches. I'm a big sandwich guy, so sometimes I like to make sandwiches. Yes.
Not bad.
Lots of bread. I love bread.
And it's easy, on the go. Who's it? Heather is a nurse, right? Like you don't have time to sit and eat a salad. Like it takes forever chewing. I get so tired chewing.
Yeah.
So it's like something, putting it in a wrap, putting it on a piece of bread is an excellent on-the-go option. So don't think bread bad, wrap's bad. Like can't eat those. So many options
Yeah.
that you can use.
You're just trying to figure out something that works best for you, right? And just trying to look at your schedule. All right, I can eat at this time. I know I'm gonna be running to X, Y, and Z. Maybe I should have a snack in hand, or in your purse or your bag, just something just in case.
What about when you go out and like you're out with friends or family or something eating at restaurants? How do you
Yes. So
make that decision?
yeah. So
Ooh,
especially.
alcohol is the
We have
fourth
to make a lot.
macronutrient.
It is.
Alcohol is the fourth macronutrient.
Technically, it is. It does give you energy. It does give you energy. Yes. But when it comes towards alcohol in events, right? That one's a little bit more. It's different. So
You definitely want to plan ahead for that.
Yes. So like, let's say for example, I'm going to meet up with my friends tonight. We're gonna go to a bar. We're gonna eat X, Y, and Z. I don't want to worry about calories and all this stuff. Right? So I want to make sure. All right. So my breakfast and my lunch is going to be super light. So I'm gonna have the majority of those calories in the evening. I can enjoy myself. I don't have to worry about am I going to be overgoing with my calories or my macros. And the next day, I'm still feeling fine. So essentially, that's what you want to think about, right? Like, all right, I know I'm going to have this. And now when it comes towards alcohol choices, I would always go for the spirits Those are definitely a lot lower on calories as opposed to your beers and your IPAs. Those are very high in calories. So think about that as like your fats, right? So I would say beers are more like your fats, and then your spirits are definitely the lower calorie or less sugar. Wine is pretty high in sugar. Pretty high. That really shoots up really quick.
But it's a fruit.
That's what I said.
That's why I always get fruit. It's a fruit.
And so you can, so there's a few different ways too that you can address, you can go through this. You can, if you know, like you have something on the weekend, you have a wedding to go to, and you're like, I'm gonna eat and drink without regard. You can calorie cycle too throughout the week, and eat, maybe 100 less calories per day to help save up for that.
That's
You know, I prefer looking at it on a weekly basis because no 2 days are identical. Some days you have time to eat, some days you don't, right? But so as we look at like tracking, it's going to be super important because we can look at it on a weekly basis to see like where you ended up and if you're in an overall deficit at the end of the week. As Alex mentioned, like before an event, eat. He didn't say he did not eat leading up to it, so that's really important. A lot of people want to starve themselves and say, like, I don't want to eat anything. I'm going to totally restrict all day. They get out and they're like, ooh, okay, chips, nachos, this, and they're like, the smorgasbord is like, oh boy, drinking. And then all of a sudden it's like, sure, let's have another. So I would say, like, yes, pre-plan, but eat, protein, vegetables, make it the majority of your meals throughout the day leading up to what you have, and think about what's most important to you. Too, there comes a time when we have to start making choices. Is alcohol important to me, or is having dessert important to me? Which one's going to make me feel more satisfied? Or am I an appetizer person, or am I a dessert person? And really kind of think about which one makes you feel the best. I know we want to be all. Listen, we got through the holidays, right? That's usually what happens during the holidays. I'm like, but I want one and I want cookies. So, yes.
Yeah, so again, and it's investing in that time and investing in your time to prepare for those events. Now, of course, there's other ways to approach it, but especially with how you said, focusing on a weekly basis. I myself like to think about the same thing as well. If my calorie threshold, let's say for example, for me daily is 2,000 calories. So weekly, I have to make sure I'm under 14,000 calories, right? If I'm under that 14,000, I'm going to be ensuring at least a 1 pound loss. So especially what you were saying, cycling through, you can find particular days like today's my day off. I don't really need to eat that much. I don't need that much energy to be used. So let me just keep it really low. And then next day I'm working out, all right, bring them back up again. And then when you get to the end of the weekend or a particular event, you still have that safety net in there. You can still be ensuring that 1 pound loss regardless.
Yeah, at the end of the day, meal prep, right? Make sure you have containers you can store food in. Batch cooking, don't be afraid to utilize all cooking apparatus. You gotta, grill some chicken, air fry vegetables. One of the best ways, roast vegetables. Just kind of have a few things going at once. And it'll really help save you time versus trying to do like everything in the oven. You have to wait for the vegetables to cook, and then you have to wait for the chicken to cook, and then you gotta wait for so think about all the different tools you have. Slow cooker too is like amazing for the weekend. Set it and forget it. This is just a grocery list, and you guys will all get this, right? You can look through some of the recommended things. Like pick 3 foods from each as you go throughout the grocery store. Make sure you have them on hand, and you can come up with like a myriad of different recipes or ways to utilize them. Shopping tips: don't ever go when you're hungry. We all know what happens, right? I either end up with too much food or not enough because I'm like, there's so anything. You always hear people talk about the perimeter of the grocery store, and it's true, right? Meats, dairy, vegetables are all around the perimeter. Once we get into the middle aisles, that's where all like the sweets and the delicious things are hidden. And then nutrition labels. I think we might have nutrition labels on there too. Is taking a few moments to like read some things as you're picking some things up. Oh, and don't be afraid of frozen options. The freezer section is excellent, especially even at Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Like the frozen rice that they have, frozen veggies, things to have on hand when you're really strapped for time and you maybe didn't have time to meal prep. right? I know Steph, this is something that she's implemented, and she's like, yes, I can like come in the freezer and like dump my rice and my veggies and like pop it in, the microwave and have a great meal in 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
What about canned veggies?
Even better.
Yeah.
So canned vegetables get such a bad rap, right? But sometimes they're even more fresh than the ones that are in the vegetable aisle. So if you think about the things that aren't in season, what happens to them? They get frozen, they're put in a freezer somewhere. But canned goods are flash frozen at peak. And then they're like, and frozen for like bags or even in the cans. So I know some of us maybe grew up on canned food, veggies too, but if that's something you like, definitely, it's much better. And they last.
Yeah.
If you're like me, the room is like, whoops, there's a bag of spinach that's moldy,
Yeah.
some zucchini back there. I'm like, oh, okay. So it's a money saver as well. Everybody now, we all know how expensive groceries are, and buying fresh is expensive. So great point. Frozen and canned. Don't be afraid.
I keep a lot of frozen canned in my house.
That's
Nice, there you go.
excellent.
Because it just works. Like I made, the other night I made chicken with frozen peas, fresh carrots, chopped, canned tomato, like little diced tomato pieces.
Yeah.
And little potatoes sliced up, so I extended the potato part on it. And, so, and canned vegetables and canned fruits. Canned vegetables and frozen fruit and frozen vegetables. I keep a lot.
Right?
Yeah.
Great
Oh,
tip.
you better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, other things also besides this too is also, let's say for example, like meal prep companies. Like I know for the longest time, I've always had problems with lunch. I was like, I don't know how to prepare my lunch. There's other companies out there. I think there's the most popular around this area is Eat Clean Throw. That's the biggest one here. There's another one near this location, I think it's in Fair Lawn, called New Jersey Gourmet. And also another one in Clifton called Silk City. Now there's a lot of different companies out there. There's a lot of different variations, and they also give you your macros on those particular places. So if you have a very particular macro set, or you need a calorie range, they can help you out with that if that's something you're looking into, or if you just want something to have for your lunch, your dinner, or your breakfast. They have all those options, and they have many different options. I think the most popular one, or I've used myself, is New Jersey Gourmet. That one's in Fair Lawn. Very good company, and Mike is a really cool dude. And he'll definitely help you out, especially with your first orders. I know there's definitely going to be a percentage off if you're interested into that, but if you are, let me know. Okay, everyone? All right, nutrition labels. So this is definitely the most important foundation of reading all your stuff, right? So of course your calories, your kilocalories, your energies, your amounts of energy that you'll be consuming, your total carbs, sugars, protein, and your total fats. Now, especially when you're going towards these, things you never want to see is trans fat. You never want to have trans fat. Why is that? Because that's man-made fat. It will definitely take a lot longer for you to burn. So if you see that number really high, don't do it, right?
Foods used to have that.
Yes.
There used to be no regulation around that.
Yeah, I know. But now, they're always trying to find different types of loopholes or X, Y, and Z when it comes towards how to read a nutrition label. So you're always that's why you always see the nutrition label always changing throughout the years. It will make it a little bit more easier to read. Besides the highlighted spaces, also things you also want to think about is the other ingredients as well. Now, when you see the other ingredients and see that list being super large, more so than this, that's when you know it's trouble, right? So it's probably just a lot of things in there. And also, it's not here, but there's a particular, it says, if you see the other stuff in here, and you see by how it's listed, let's say for example, the first thing you see is sugar. That means it's the highest amount out of all those other ingredients.
Yeah, so ingredients are labeled from the most amount at the beginning to the least amount.
That's correct.
So if high fructose corn syrup is number one, that means it has the most.
The most of it, yes.
So, that's a good one.
Yeah. And as for your serving size, so your serving size would be right over here. So that's very important, especially when you're trying to figure out your calories in general. So let's say, for example, as I was saying before, that those 9 almonds are to be 1 serving size, and that's around 120 calories right from the get-go, and they'll tell you exactly what you're having within that 1 serving size. I remember a long time ago when I used to work at GNC, one of the most popular protein bars was this protein cookie. It was,
Lenny and Larry's.
Yeah, Lenny and Larry's, that's correct. So it's the most popular because it's a cookie. It's like, you can't go wrong. It has protein, even better, right? And it's actually pretty good. So, but the thing is, they're like, oh, well, if you have this cookie, you have 14 grams of protein, and it's only 250 calories. But if that's what it says on the thing, but if you read in the back, that's only half the cookie.
Oh, boy.
Yes. So that's only half the cookie. I know, exactly. So that's how they trick you sometimes. Like it's all about marketing as well, because of course these businesses want to have money, and that's just how they get you. And as soon as you read the back, oh my God, I have double the amount. So that's things to always make sure when you're looking at the serving size.
Yep, and they're always going to try and manipulate like the serving size so that the calories look like favorable to a consumer too. So again, like looking at that serving size, saying like, oh, it's the serving size for like 4 chips. Oh, okay, it's 120 calories. Oh, okay.
I know, it's like
Who eats that?
it's like when I was in Montclair State, one of our professors was from Gonzalo, so he was in charge of the Oreo distribution. So he would always bring us fresh Oreos all the time. Like, this is the new Oreo of this month. I'm like, cinnamon raisin, whatever, Oreo. He's like, you guys gonna try it out? But like I love Oreos, and for the longest time, I could only eat, if I ate 1 Oreo, I had to finish the whole sleeve. Yes. But again, there's a whole department on food, science, X, Y, and Z. So when you eat that, you're scientifically proven to have another one. Same thing with French fries as well. So that particular chemicals they use, as soon as you eat it, I gotta grab another one. So it's like things you have to keep in mind as well. Again, these are businesses. They want you to have more. They want to have more money. They want you to eat more, right? Now, other things that I never wanted to know: how many calories a sleeve is.
No, don't tell me.
So I know 3 cookies is around almost 200 to 300 calories.
I don't want to know.
Just 3.
And a
Just
whole
3
sleeve
cookies.
is like what, 26 cookies?
It was ridiculous. Yeah, so things to think about. And also on here as well, your sugar, right? So keeping that sugar down will definitely be the best thing you can do for your diet. Overall, sugar will definitely help spike up that.
You'll see added sugars.
Yes.
So you'll see sugars and then added sugars. You want to try and keep added sugars below 25 grams a day.
That's correct.
So you might want to keep track of that. And obviously in more processed foods, you're going to have more added sugars. So here are the things to watch out for.
Yeah, there you go.
Right? As we talk about looking at a label, the first thing is cooking spray. I love this one because
Me too.
if you look at the serving size, it's 1/4 of a second spray. I don't even that's 4 seconds, right? You'll never, right? So if you actually look at it, it says an average spray is 4 seconds, so you're looking at 32 calories. It also says that there's trace amounts of fat in it. It's about 0.2 grams per 1/4 second spray. Again, a 4 second spray, you're then adding more calories. So now you're up to about, 40 to 50 calories in a spray. Now, it is a great option versus olive oil. If you're like, I'm just gonna do a drizzle of olive oil, and a drizzle turns into 4 tablespoons, but just know, this is a great option to that, but just know 0 calories doesn't mean 0 calories.
Exactly what we were just touching on. Exactly.
This one's a good one too. I love this one, the veggie straws. People are like, veggie straws, it's like vegetables, right? If you look at the ingredient list, there's literally no vegetables in it. And when you look at it versus a baked potato chip, it's the same thing. The veggie straw is a baked potato chip. That's about it. So just be careful. Just because it says vegetable doesn't mean it's actually healthier for you. And then the last one is sauces and condiments and dressings. If you put ranch on everything or ketchup on everything, that adds up. And if you look at a lot of added sugar in ketchup, so take a look at, I think Heinz actually makes no sugar added. There's some sugar-free barbecue sauce and things like that. So it's just little things that wind up adding up. And the more you know when you're looking at a label, the more educated decisions you can make and maybe make some replacements.
Especially ketchup. I mean, if you ever go to like a restaurant and you see the Heinz bottle, typically you never see the calories behind it. And like, because for the most part, it's a lot of calories. You put like onto your fries and everything, and it like, shoots it up like enormous. That's why, like, I think there was a lawsuit on them like a long time ago because of that. Yeah, because like they never disclose the calories on like their restaurants, like Heinz. But if it was but only the little packets you would see the calories, but never like the large ones when you go to a
And like
restaurant.
who's measuring out your ketchup, right? Like you're just like squeezing it and it's there. Like
Yeah.
salad dressing, so that's another one too. That adds up fats. Because most salad dressings are oil based. And so if you look on the back of them, you'll see, oh wow, in 2 tablespoons there could be 15 to 25 grams of fat, depending on what type it is. So there are some lower calorie options as well.
So what do you suggest with the oils or butter? Like if you're
Just be
sauteing
careful.
like a vegetable,
Just
spinach.
be mindful. Just be mindful
Yes.
of it, and just know, like, if you're really looking to be perfect with your calories,
Right.
To know that like this isn't tracked as 0 calories.
Right,
Like, it should
okay.
be tracked as
Yeah,
a
it
4 to
should be
5
tracked.
seconds, right?
Yeah.
Or with your olive oil, if you're sauteing spinach, measure it out.
Yeah.
Versus just
Aye.
until you understand what like a tablespoon
Right,
looks
what it
like in
looks
the
like in
pan,
the pan.
and you're like,
Yes.
okay, now I understand.
Right, because I'm allowed what? What do we say? Tablespoon per
That's
meal?
thumb of fat,
Yeah,
Oh, right.
Tablespoon, yes.
It's like,
It's
yeah.
like a half a teaspoon.
I know.
Depends how big the
Well,
thing
I
is.
see where they pour it in,
Prosthetic
and then they kind of
thumb.
paper towel it out to just get like a little bit to coat the pan. And then...
And we're going to hydration and sleep, other very important features in here. Now there's been a lot of new studies, especially when it comes towards sleep, especially on like the WILP, all that stuff, all that different type of stats for the past 3-4 years that WILP's been around. There's a lot of new research on it, but the main thing is trying to make sure you're having at least 6 to 8 hours. You get closer towards 9, awesome, but I would definitely never dip down under 6. There's a lot of research saying that your testosterone levels can get low. Same thing when it comes to hormones and estrogen can be all off balance, and also a 200% increase in injury rate. So especially when you sleep under 6 hours. Now, of course, when it comes to quality sleep, definitely very important too. I know that a lot of people use melatonin or other things. When it comes towards melatonin, I would definitely try to cycle off of that because you don't want to be reliant on it. But other things, the best thing that I actually like to do is zinc and magnesium. So that helps you stay into that REM sleep. So it doesn't make you go to sleep, it helps you stay asleep. So definitely magnesium is definitely one of those sought after.
Hands down, yes.
100%.
Isn't there different kinds?
So again,
Do you have a certain kind you take? Mine's like a blend of a few of them.
I-
It's like a citrate, glycinate, and something else.
like I usually take a pill that has the zinc magnesium. I mean, a lot of different companies have them. But if you do take the pill version, make sure, because I know some of them do have testosterone in them, don't take the testosterone. But I know for some of the male crowd, when it comes to zinc magnesium, some of them have a little bit of testosterone in them. But make sure it's just a regular one, or just a combination of zinc and magnesium. Just take those 2 pills together. There's also a very popular, I think, powder called Calm. That one's a very popular one when it comes to magnesium. Definitely very, very good. Yeah. Yeah. And also
Water.
hydration, right? So hydration, very, very important, especially what we were talking about earlier, especially before, as soon as you wake up, grab that water. Now, rules of thumb when it comes towards hydration, right? How you will know you're dehydrated. Your urine will be very dark. That's how you know you're very dehydrated. Now, if you have too much hydration, your urine will be completely white. Now you're just buying trips to the bathroom, right? So that's how you know, all right, you had enough water, you're good, you're good. Yeah.
I
But-
flavor it with everything.
But for the most part, mellow yellow is a good place to be.
Mellow
Yeah,
yellow.
mellow yellow. Yes, not too dark, but also not completely white. That's where you want to be at when it comes towards your hydration overall.
And how much, I like to say, think about half your body weight in ounces is a good place to start. And as we get into warmer months or more sweat-inducing workouts, you're gonna need more.
Oh yeah. And like a good or an easy one, especially when it comes to water, every time you eat, just have a bottle or a glass of water. So eat something, water, automatically. It's like 3-4 glasses is a good place to be at, especially if you're not used to drinking that much water. It's a good,
Yeah,
it's a
she'll be
good,
in the bathroom all the time, but it gets better.
Yeah, not only that, your overall performance, everything, your mood, everything will just come that much better. Yeah, your skin, exactly.
Hair,
Yeah.
all of that.
All that good stuff.
Yes.
There's your hydration tips.
Yep.
Importance
And
of
sleep.
sleep.
And then I would just
Yeah.
piggyback on that. Like sleep is the time when your body has to recover. So if you don't sleep, you're not recovering. You touched a little bit upon hormones and that. And if you've ever been in a situation where like you lack sleep the next day, don't you find you crave like carbs? Right? It's because your hunger hormone is elevated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so
Gremlin,
ghrelin, yeah.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's truth. There's a truth behind it. So because your body is craving quick energy, it's tired, you didn't sleep enough, so you're gonna go after those carbohydrates because that's what gives you fuel, and then you'll go up, and then you'll go right back down, and what happens? You'll go back to the cabinet for more. So that's why sleep is so important for recovery and for just overall diet habits.
Because also think about it, when you're sleeping, yes, I understand you're sleeping, but your body's still working. So all your organs, everything's inside, it's still working, still consuming calories, so it still needs to do work. So if you're not consuming those foods, that's where, again, that hunger hormone comes into play, and it needs those calories for all your functions to work correctly as well. So that's something to think about as well.
And if you're somebody that kind of relies on like a nightcap, alcohol before bed, I would try and advise to see if we can shift that to an herbal tea or something other than that alcohol, because it might help you sleep, it might feel like, okay, I can fall asleep faster, but it's really, again, your body is working to metabolize it and get it out. So it's working in overtime now. So it's actually more harm than help.
Yes, and also when it comes to REM sleep, I know, especially now in New Jersey, THC is a popular thing when it comes to those gummies and stuff. So having that before you go to sleep will also not get you that REM sleep. So, I mean, yes, you can, I had a great sleep, but typically how you would know you're in REM sleep, did you have dreams? That's a good place to have, like, all right, that's how you know you went to that REM sleep. You went to that really deep sleep, and that's how you get that recovery. And another thing too is like, I know a lot of people sometimes have coffee before they go to sleep, or a mirror when they're about to go to sleep. And I used to do that all the time. I drink a lot of coffee. And I was like, oh, well, I slept great, I still felt fine. But my performance the next day, everything else just felt a little more sluggy. And the same thing, your REM sleep is also diminished as well. And also when it comes to alcohol. So alcohol, drugs, coffee, anything like that will definitely diminish that sleep quality over time. Yeah, exactly what we were talking about. Especially when it comes to our sleep tips. Like, when it comes to our sleep tips, think of it like as if you're warming up for a lift, right? Like that's like the main thing. It's like really like think about it. All right, when you're warming up, all right, BBC, all right, barbell, like, you get all this ready.
Do you have a skincare routine? Like, I mean, that takes some time.
Yeah.
Like, that's a great way to start. Alex, like, I don't have that yet. It takes time. So start that. A few hours. That's all it takes. What you put on. You've got I know Sean's got a skincare routine. Right?
But very important, I like things that I like to do is I hate stretching. So I typically do it before I go to sleep. So that'll be my time. Like, all right, I put my phone on silent mode. I don't get any more texts anymore. I just start mobilizing a little bit. 5 minutes. I hate stretching. But and then I make sure the room is set. Everything. I don't have to worry about anything. So as soon as I get into bed, I'm not looking at my phone. It's already off. It's gone.
Yeah, that's
and that's it. You just
phone
in
in
there.
bed.
No phone in bed. It's like you have to create a little routine for yourself. Now I wouldn't go too crazy, but just find something. I know for the longest time before I used to also do hot yoga or sauna or something like that. Helps me calm down, relax. I take my shower, my phone's off, automatically go to bed, that's it. It makes it, just keep it simple for yourself when you're trying to go to sleep. The worst thing you can do is just keep checking your phone, because you're always gonna find something, and then that rabbit hole comes in, and they're like, oh, what's this? And then all of a sudden 2 hours passed. Yeah. And any more questions? Oh, so your protein powder. So just remember that. If you do protein powder, there's variations out there, right? I think one of the most popular is complex proteins, like Optimum Nutrition. So those are like more different variations of proteins put together, and that was more, I would say, more for like meal replacements. Then there's ISO protein. So that one's a little bit more refined, and it's typically more protein, and the sodium and the carbs are a little bit lower, so it really focuses on the protein. So that one's more after your workout, so that's definitely something you would use after a workout, ISO protein. And the most sought after, the highest variation, is native ISO whey. So native ISO whey is even more just the protein itself, with pretty much almost no sodium and sugar. So it's almost non-existent. So the most popular with native ISO is, I think it's Ascent protein. There's other companies out there that do the same thing as well.
I've heard good things about Ascent, though.
Yeah, Ascent, that's what it is, Ascent.
ASCENT.
That's correct.
Ascent.
It's NCAA approved, all
People seem
that
to
good
like
stuff.
it,
Yeah.
flavor's good.
Yeah, that one, typically native ISO is pretty expensive. So that one is actually doable. It's actually not that expensive, because now the prices are going lower on native ISO. But you know, a lot of different companies have them. You can check them out. It's typically the highest variation of a protein powder you can get.
What about casein?
Casein, yeah, I mean, like casein, I typically like use cottage cheese. It's better. Yeah, so it's actually a natural variation of the casein. But if you want to have casein as a very specific goal, you know, you want to make sure you're trying to retain more muscle mass as you're sleeping too.
Yeah.
You know, so that also depends. Yeah, because it's a thicker protein. Yeah, it's thicker. Yeah.
And then my other question was, when you're trying to hit macros throughout the day and you need to like snack and then make an extra macro block or something like that, but you're not hungry, have you, like, do you just have to force yourself to eat and like remember that?
I'm gonna say it depends. It depends on how close you are to your goal.
Okay.
You could be at a threshold, right, between 5 to 10% on any given day, and like tomorrow you might be hungrier. So it's going to kind of depend. I would never say like force feed yourself. If you're really full, like don't.
Yeah.
Be sick.
Yeah.
But if you're close, yes, like that's kind of it. Play around with it and see how you feel.
Yeah.
There's always like a variable. It can be within plus or minus of
Yeah.
like your total macros. You just don't want to be over the weekly, calorie target.
Yeah, because for the most part, we'll be giving you like particular thresholds. You don't have to hit the high threshold. You know, it's just there just to be there. But if you can get anywhere under that threshold, it's really close.
And then are you guys gonna talk about the scan results?
Oh yeah. So yeah, but before that, just any other questions?
Regarding vegetables, what's the comparison between like green powders or like green powders and vegetables?
I take a green supplement, but I also want vegetables. I mean, do you not like vegetables?
I'm trying to I mean, I like vegetables when they're cooked and then
Cooked with like Parmesan cheese.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the same way too.
Or I don't mind vegetables if it's like in like whole vegetables in like a shake. Or
There you
something,
go.
like blending them up or something.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm the same way when it comes to vegetables as well. I mean, like, for the longest time, I hated vegetables, but then, like, when you start looking into what vegetables can do you, depending on what your goals are, like, I know for me, like, all right, I want to have more muscle building, X, Y, and Z, bring my body fat down. I know there's a lot of studies out there that says that spinach and broccoli can help boost, your testosterone, or can also help hormones as well, bring down your body fat percentage. That's why I get the dark leafy ones. If anything, I would definitely invest on those. And if you want to have anything else that's powder-wise, then yeah, have powder. I mean, I myself do that in my protein shake too, because again, just extra. Yeah.
Fruits and veggies and micronutrients never hurt, right?
Exactly.
But just be careful, because if they taste good, they're probably not good for you.
Yes.
The green spatters that taste the worst, like palm water, are like the better ones.
No, I don't do Yeah, because I just know I see the plate and I'm like, that's not,
Yeah. Exactly.
So
Yeah. What question do you have? Of course.
Yeah. Eat or else leave Oreos.
It's a time and place, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you can somehow balance it into your meals when it comes to a snack, you know, if you have a little, cheap snack that you like to have all the time, that's completely fine. Like, I love breakfast bagels and I love pizza and I love all these things, but I try to reserve it for one meal out of the week for myself. But I'm not gonna go overindulge, like I know for every Tuesday morning for me, after I coach, I always have a breakfast bagel and an extra bagel with it. Like, oh, that's just a crazy carbs, but I know usually for me on Tuesdays, I lift heavy. So if anything, that helps with those heavier lifts, and I can enjoy those foods.
And it's something to look forward to.
Exactly. And again, I know I don't have to eliminate everything that I like. I know I can have it every Tuesday without any problems. It's fine.
Yep.
And then for me on Friday nights, I like to sometimes go out to eat, go to different restaurants. And then yes, you can go and check their calories and stuff like that. But you want to have a life too. So again, just make sure your other meals are a little bit lower, and then you can enjoy yourself at night and all these different things as well.
We're going to talk about that.
We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, just other questions. Yeah, just for this. Yeah.
How do you manage? So vegetable soup. Any feedback on soups?
Great.
Yeah.
The beauty now is you can even get chicken bone broth and beef bone broth. So bone broth is going to have more protein in it than just a regular chicken stock. So as you're making soups, think about subbing out, chicken broth, which is the old faithful, to a bone broth. If you don't eat meat, then you will have vegetable stock. They don't have vegetable bone broth stock.
Yeah.
But, you never know. But yeah.
How do you manage fruit?
So, I know
I
usually,
eat a ton of it.
yeah, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I use sugar, but that's the good sugar, so don't worry about that. I know a lot of people like to go into a lot of details like, oh, sugar. It's like the main thing you always think about is keeping your calories low, keeping your deficit low.
Berries are going to give you more bang for your buck. Like berries are lower in sugar as well, so you can have like a pretty big bowl of blueberries and strawberries. I realize they're not in season, I know. But I just got some good blueberries versus like a banana and an apple, which have a lot more carbohydrates in a 100-gram basis. So you'll find some things that are like, oh, okay, I can have all of this blueberries or all of this huge, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, versus like a little banana. So think about volume-wise, comes in handy too.
And also think about fruits like the healthy version of candy. That's pretty much it. It's the healthy version of candy for the most part.
Right.
And it still gives you that sugar, rush. And also like myself, I love snacking on things. So grapes, berries, easy, and it's low calorie regardless, and it gives you that sugar high as well. So all good right there, exactly. Yeah. Any other questions before we go into the InBody? All right. So if you have your scan, right? But if you don't have it, don't worry about it. You can always take a picture of it, X, Y, and Z. But when you're looking at your muscle fat analysis, your weight, skeletal muscle mass, and your body fat mass, you want to look at 3 different things. 3 times. A C shape, an I shape, and a D shape. So when you're looking at that portion right there, if it's more of a C shape, we have work to do, right? That means we're a little bit on the overweight side, and we want to try to bring that down. If you're in the I shape, that's more of your balance. A little bit more balance. It's anything bad, but nothing anything great as well, but somewhere in the middle. We just have a little bit of work to do. And then D shape is the most ideal. That's more what they would call more of an athletic build, right? So your weight is low, your skeletal muscle mass is high, and your body fat mass is also low. So that's essentially what you want to look at, that D shape when you're looking at your muscle fat analysis. Everyone? Now, going down from there, as for body fat percentage goals, right? Now, as for essential fat, so this is the fat that you need to stay alive. So never get under this percentage. Anyone? So essential fat for men is 2 to 5%, and for women, 10 to 13%. Okay? So those are your essential fats. There you go. It's your body fat percentage, PBM. So when your body fat percentage, that's essentially your essential fat. So 100%, you need those fats. Now, as for athletes, we should be striving for men, 6 to 13, women, 14 to 20. Fitness, 14 to 17 for the men, 21 to 24 for the women. Average, 18, 24 men, 25, 31% for the women, and then obese, 25 plus for men, and for the women, 32 plus. What's up?
Does that vary depending on your age or not?
That's right. It does.
It does.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes. But for the most part, that's a good, especially when it comes to essential fats, that's going to be cemented the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a cemented because we definitely want to make sure this is always going to be in your system regardless.
So where do we want to be? Do we want to be in, well, I guess it depends on what.
It depends on what your goal is. Yes. So usually a lot of people like to go for the athletes and fitness, but definitely try to keep it around average and higher from there. Okay, everyone? Now, and besides your body fat percentage, let's talk about skeletal muscle mass, right? So skeletal muscle mass, as for your ages go, when you go into skeletal muscle mass, between the ages of 20 to 39 for the men, 75, 89% is a good place. For the women, 63 to 75.5%. For ages 40 to 59, for the men, 73, 86. Ladies, 62, 73.4%. And ages 60 to 79, 70, 84 for the men, and 60 to 72.5% for the ladies. So that's definitely a good goal to strive for when you're going towards your skeletal muscle mass.
Can you explain what skeletal muscle mass is?
It's the muscle mass that you have in your body. So all the muscle that you accrued on your frame.
With skeletons.
Oh, no, yeah.
Bones or
That's correct.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's your
yeah.
muscle.
It's your muscle mass. That's
Oh.
correct. Yes.
Wow.
So that's something to strive for. Now you'll also notice on your exam thing, you'll see some numbers at the top. It'll be like kind of like a range, like 100, 115. Usually the 100 is usually around the average for your height, weight, and age. So that's if you're a little bit higher than your average, cool. If you're
Sorry.
so it'll be like it'll be right here. This range right here.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you're at 100, that's the average. And if you're a little bit higher than that 100, that's
Oh, the gray is the average.
You
see that number 100?
Yeah.
That's the
Arrow
average
down
for your
here,
height, age,
minus.
and weight.
Oh,
You're a
okay.
little bit higher than your average.
Or the stable.
So
Oh, that's what that means.
That's
what
correct.
those numbers.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
But for the most
Me too.
part, the most important numbers
Okay.
is going to be your weight, your skeletal muscle mass, and your body fat percentage. Those three things are the most important. We want to make sure your skeletal muscle mass is going higher and your body fat percentage is going lower. Now let's say, for example, I'm 200 pounds and my muscle mass went higher, my body fat percent went lower, but my weight stayed the same. That is excellent, right? Exactly, especially when it comes towards weight. That's why I would say weight is not a huge marker. It's typically these two are the most important out of the three. Alright, so these two are definitely the most important because they also help you bring that toning look as well, and also getting that muscle mass higher, especially as we age. It's very difficult to maintain and try to hold on to. So that's something you always want to fight.
So we need to do C to D. From C to D. Yeah.
Yes, let's get to D.
How hard is it?
Like
What is a reasonable increase in my skeletal muscle mass that I should be looking for?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Like in 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's I don't have that answer for you, but definitely a small. I would say small percentage increases because of course you have to train a particular way to have more muscle hypertrophy, more muscle building, and then making sure we have that protein and carbs to
So
replenish it.
we're gonna do this again in 4 weeks?
That's correct.
the scan.
The scan?
4 weeks, that's correct.
So you're not looking at like point jumps, you're looking at like whole points. You're looking at like point something, like point
Yeah.
That's correct, yes.
Versus
Yes. Like, yes, a good yes.
Yeah, like you're not gonna lose
that's gonna be a lot.
percentage of body fat necessarily.
It depends.
Yeah.
Depends on how aggressive you want to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you are looking for muscle growth, right, you have the same question. It is going to be proper nutrition. Protein is what repairs and rebuilds. So
Right.
increasing your protein intake is going to help
Right.
assist the lifts in the gym. And Alex's job is to make sure you guys are lifting heavy.
And that's the main thing, right? When it comes towards CrossFit, I really want to reinforce this, right? So when we go towards strength training, always worry about how heavy or how much heavier I should be going, right? And of course, everyone's a little bit different as when it comes towards weight, but as long as you have a particular foundation and you keep fighting to go higher and higher over time, you're in a good spot, right? And then when it comes towards our metcons and conditioning, we already went heavy, now just go lighter, and your goal is to go faster. So especially when it comes towards intensity, that's what's going to be the deciding factor on how to burn more body fat, right? So burning more body fat, 'cause I know when it comes towards CrossFit, a lot of people see it in different ways. Like, all right, well, let me think of it more like, let me go heavier so it'll be more challenging for me. That is never the goal when it comes to CrossFit. I want to make sure we just went heavy. You don't need to go heavy again. I want you to go even faster, because that's really where the difficulty is. Going fast and never stopping. Now when you think about that, like, oh, that is pretty hard. Yes, because I want to make sure you never stop. Now it's almost like, say for example, if I was doing an RX workout and Allison was doing a scaled workout, she finished at 10 minutes, I should also be finishing at 10 minutes. Now some people, well, I did RX so I can go slower. No, but you did it incorrectly. You need to find good scalable options and weights to make sure I'm just as fast as the first person in the scale division. So those are things to think about as well. What's up?
When you're trying to build muscle and now like we're deloading, does that change at all? It's a really good question. Like,
Oh, as for like if it's gonna start going small because you're deloading?
yeah.
No, so it won't do that. Yeah, because for the most part, typically strength cycles are always going to be roughly around 3 or 4 months, regardless. Because why that is because we don't want to stress your nervous system too much. Because when that happens, then you have a higher chance of injury. So we want to make sure you're go back to homeostasis, your body's back to being normal again, and then we're rebuilding back up, but you will not lose muscle mass or strength in that manner.
So listening to you when you really talk about like the percentages of numbers, like what to hit.
Yes.
Maybe
Oh
you
yeah.
should pay attention.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So and again, like anytime you have questions, during metcon or strength, very in-depth questions when it comes towards intensity, those are things that you can always ask us at any time, and that's why we really reinforce time difference. You should be finished with this movement this amount of time. If not, move on. Then you have to find, you have to be honest with yourself. What are my capabilities with these particular movement patterns? What weights can I hit? And like, all right, if just like a back squat, for a 3x5, I can hit 100 pounds. All right, cool. But now, how's that with your heart rate beating? Right? It's completely changed the game, and now, all right, now I know I can't do that weight. And I have to go a lot lower. So it's trial and error sometimes, especially if you're a beginner athlete. But over time, you have to keep that in the back of your head. How can I improve my work capacity? How much work can I do within that time frame without stopping? What's up?
In order for me to count my calories, is there a good app that you would recommend? Like if I had this morning half of a morning breakfast muffin, right? How do I know how many calories is in that so I can kind of plan the day?
So I know we'll be thinking about using
MyFitnessPal.
Now MyFitnessPal, when you create a profile there, it's completely free.
Yeah.
Now, once you create it, I also would like you to put it on public view. So not just close friends, but so we can check the diary. Yes. So we can check your food diary there. So it makes it a lot easier. But you need to make sure you put it on public, not close friends. So make it easier for all of us to read it.
So we're all gonna look at
Well, you don't have to. You don't have to.
How is that
I mean,
made?
but if you want to add someone else on your bucket and challenge each other that way or keep yourself accountable, you can do that too. Because hey, I'm looking at your food diary. What's up? But you don't have to do that. But for the most part, that's just mostly for us to read and making sure we can utilize this. utilize those calories, making sure you're on track.
So when does this start, the diet?
It starts on Monday. So especially after, so this is mostly just,
Kidding,
yes. It's all getting you prepared mentally as well.
Your body's done.
I used, I've done macros before. I used, I think it was Carb Manager,
Yes, that's another one too.
which, and they have like, because if you buy like certain sausages, like the Linsky sausage, or they have them in there.
It's like Weight Watchers.
No, but they already have them like people have
That's why
programmed things.
MyFitnessPal has the most robust food diary.
It does.
Okay.
It has
The food list
millions of
industry, yes,
foods.
huge.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's usually what I would say most people would probably.
So it kind of sounds like it's the same.
Yeah.
Sort of.
And if you want to, I know there's another option on there. You can pay a little bit more for the scanner. Like,
Oh, I
yeah,
like that.
the barcode scanner.
If you send the country to Scotland, it's free.
Ah, really? Nice, all right. Keep that in the back of my head. But right? But typically that's what you'll be using for to find your food diary. But of course, if you have carb manager, I mean, if you can try to use MyFitnessPal, it'll be a lot easier for us, for us to read and everything like that. But
How do we make it public, like, how do I?
things on the settings.
What was the app?
MyFitnessPal.
Well, thanks everybody for coming.
Yeah.
Can I have our acknowledgements too? So if you think of anything else and you're like, oh, I forgot to ask that, I just wanted to know.
Also, before I forget, if you have an in-body scan, if you have an in-body scan, please, if you haven't sent it to me or Allison, we can just take a picture of it before you eat.